we are on part 11 here, and we have just two more matches left to talk about for SummerSlam. Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. This was a match that I didn't pay as much attention to that I expected to, but what I missed, I don't think I really missed much, because that was the more of the beginning of the match where there's still like kind of slower pace, and then I can pay a little bit more attention to it, and then by that time they had picked up the pace. They ended up doing a lot of moves that I didn't really think that they were going to do. Roman Reigns started showing that he can wrestle a little bit more than they give him credit for sometimes. I mean, a lot of the wrestlers that they have particularly in babyface roles, they limit what they're doing because they want to keep it as simple as possible so people can follow along. And John Cena's a case of that. Batista doesn't really have a huge move set. There's a lot of people that fall into that rut. And Roman Reigns sort of seemed like that. But here, he started pulling out some different ones. I mean, this might be the first time that I saw him do that move where he just kind of flat out tripped somebody, right? That was something new. Or at least it was something new for me. They had a cool back and forth going on at the end of the match, and Roman Reigns eventually hits the spear for the win. Much better than I really had given it credit beforehand. And Roman Reigns continues to impress. I liked it. John?
Didn't watch it. I was too busy on my phone reading articles. And yeah, it turns out I really do need that shit. So I'll be back.
He's gonna go shit in somebody's bag.
That's what Randy Orton makes you do.
Peyton, your thoughts on Orton versus Reigns?
I wanted to talk about Sean taking a shit.
All right, your thoughts on Sean taking a shit?
Well, I think I have to take a shit too. This was better than I guess I would have expected it to be. I would say about as on par with what I expected it to be. There was a number of cool spots throughout it, especially the reversals of Roman Reigns' two big moves by Randy Orton, when Roman Reigns is going to do the Superman punch and he gets RKO'd, or when he was going to do the spear and he got power slammed. Those are fantastic little reversals they fit in there, and a few other fine things as well. It was also bogged down by the usual Randy Orton problem of too many damn headlocks throughout the match. So it's hard for me to really praise it all that much, but it was fine. I do think that Roman Reigns did have to have a better performance, though, and I wouldn't blame him. I would blame Randy Orton a lot for that as well, or it could have been Roman Reigns. Maybe Roman Reigns got gassed and they had to slow it down. I don't know, and I guess we won't know. Point is, this match did not deliver on the same level as that lumberjack match earlier did, and that might not speak well for the forward months.
Miguel?
I think the biggest problem with this matchup is they gave it the death spot. They gave it that spot between the co-main and the main event that you usually see the Divas matches get put into. Having said that, though, it sounds like Randy Orton really, gave it an effort. And when Randy Orton sleepwalks through a matchup, you can tell. It doesn't sound like that was the case here, and I think Roman Reigns knew that this was a showcase for him, and he really had to pull out all the stops. And it sounds like the matchup was better than expected, because honestly, like you said, Reigns was kind of getting stuck in like a babyface rut, and Randy Orton tends to kind of go a little bit heavy with the rest holds and the chin locks. So there was potential for bad for this matchup, but from what it sounds like, it was an above average performance on both guys' parts. And the fact that they were able to get the crowd into it towards the end is really a positive, because, like I said, that death spot, it's hard to get the crowd, to get jazzed up after going from one angle to another.
That's not completely true. It's only a death spot if you book it as a death spot. You can do 3 big matches in a row at the end. Usually
WWE doesn't. They always have that buffer matchup in between.
Well, that's because that's where they used to put the Divas match. You don't have to do it that way. You want to have the crowd have a rest. That's when you do your video packages, which all of these 3 matches at the end got those video packages. They really spaced them apart with video packages and commercials and whatever the heck else they fluff in there. Going to the pre-show panel desk.
Who was on the pre-show panel desk this time?
I have no idea.
It was Renee Young, Booker T, Alex Riley, and I want to say
Jason
maybe
Albert.
Ric Flair. Let me double check that. I think it was Ric Flair. It's usually either Ric Flair or Christian. Yeah, it was Ric Flair. So they really have just not switched this much up lately. I mean, they've had Alex Riley, Booker T for each one. For
They were
months
gonna
now.
have Christian, but they had to get rid of their blue dot budget this month.
Yeah, that's true. And then since Ric Flair's got all these money troubles, they were just like, "Oh, we'll pay for your board," and he's like, "That's all right, it's fine, it's great."
So
And
I
it started
mean,
bleeding.
if you send the two divas out there to have a 3-minute match, yes, it's going to be the death spot. But these guys went out there, they busted their ass. The crowd was a little slow at the start, but that's any match at the beginning when you're doing mostly rest holds. They really put out their performance out there, and the crowd bought into it. I think, if anything, the thing that hurt this match more was that damn Jericho Wyatt match. Otherwise, this crowd would have just stayed hot all night.
Yeah, that really was like a killer towards the momentum of this pay-per-view. They were doing really well up until that match.
Yeah, that could have been the death spot matchup, honestly.
Well, you know what?
That-
Actually, what kind of hurt it was that flag match a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you mentioned, this pay-per-view's kind of been up and down. Like, one good matchup, one not so good matchup, one good matchup. Very, very uneven pacing. But so far, it sounds like it's been good so far.
Any last thoughts, guys, before we move on to the main event?
It was a match.
Oh, so Sean's back.
Bring it in the bathroom with you? What's happening?
Wireless headphone there, bro.
WWE title match coming up next part, everybody.